a couple more folks in from the waiting room. All right. Hey, Lamide. Okay, perfect. One more person, and then I'm gonna go ahead and read Miss Britney Jeanine Canidate's bio for you guys. All right, so Britney Jeanine Canidate is the Chief Executive Officer, and if you guys are not muted, go ahead and mute yourselves just to make sure we're good there before I can get to it. All right, perfect. Britney Jeanine Canidate is the Chief Executive Officer and owner of BJCo Creative, a passion-driven, full-service creative agency, and Britney Jeanine Co, a consultancy firm based in the heart of Atlanta, Georgia. Britney has established herself as an industry-leading creative brand consultant and brand strategist with over 12 plus years of experience. Through her work, Britney has supported clients across a multitude of industries, consulting for corporate executives, high-ranking government officials, and hundreds of creative entrepreneurs. Known for her spunky attitude, creativity, strategic mind, and attention to detail, Britney is a proud graduate of Georgetown University, where she received her master's in public relations and corporate communications, and a Florida State Seminole with a background in finance and marketing. Through online education, group mentoring, one-on-one consulting, and live events, you can find Britney sharing her signature systems with fellow creative entrepreneurs who are focused on their purpose, profits, and productivity. So as Britney would say, let's go from winging business to winning in business. Let's get this work. Woo! Yes, I love it. Yes, I love it. Even your bio has energy in it. So just everything that you do. Welcome to Big Idea Food Tribe, Britney. We're so happy to have you today.
I'm happy to be here.
Yes, thank you. And we're not going to waste any time. We're going to just dive right into these questions. I've got a beautiful list of questions to ask you for my members who we've all, just like I told you, we've been working on getting our business foundation in order so that now we are starting to get into marketing and understanding the role of branding in that process. And so I could not think of anyone but you to have come talk to them and just to help us continue to move the needle on our brand. So I'm gonna get right on into it, Britney, with our first question.
People in here.
Yes,
Hey, Natasha and Courtney, I see y'all.
yes, you got some family. Natasha, I feel like it's through Natasha that I found out about you.
She rides for me. Thank you, Natasha.
Yes, she does. When she saw you were coming, she was like, "Oh, that's my girl. I'm gonna be there."
That's my boo.
Yes.
She's like one of my first clients ever.
Oh my gosh! See, I didn't even know that. I love it. Yeah, just seeing her. Oh, hold on. Let me get the. There we go. Yeah, just seeing her brands elevate just over these months, and she's just like blow-up-she-wating, and I was just like, yeah, like Britney is like the real deal, holy shield. So let me just make sure everyone else is muted. 1 second. Let me get right into this. If you can mute yourselves, guys, so that we don't have any distractions. All right, perfect. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and get into this, Britney. Like I have said, you know, everything that you do just like screams your personality to me. Your just spunky attitude and the way that it pervades everything that you do, not just visually, but just everything that you are offering and bringing into the world is just so full of light and so full of life. So I was just wondering, you know, you and I, we don't know each other from Adam, right? I've just admired you from afar, and kind of just continue to absorb and watch the things that you're always posting and sharing. So I was just hoping that we could start by you walking us through your entrepreneurial journey a little bit, and just, you know, sharing any specific steps, any programs you may have taken or whatever that helped you to just find your groove and get to where you are today.
Yeah. So I've been an entrepreneur for 12 years. Many people don't know about me, but I actually started as a wedding planner. And so, I was in the process of actually planning my own wedding in 2009. But, a year before that, 2008, was when I was like, okay, man, I'm organized. I can do this for other people. I might can make a little bit of money. And I just sort of jumped into wedding planning without having any idea of what the heck I was doing. I had no plan. And then I started working with these bridezillas, and I was like, Lord, Brittany, this is not what you signed up for. This is not what you even really wanted to do. And so I slowly stepped back and gave planning and all that up. And I actually got pregnant with my daughter, Taylor. When I got pregnant with her and I had her, I wanted to take pictures of her because she was constantly changing. Her face was always changing. And so I picked up a camera, I was taking pictures. And so that sort of led to people saying, all right, Brittany, like, you kind of good at this photography thing. Can you take pictures for me too? And so before you know it, I was taking pictures for folks on LinkedIn and doing this and doing that. But I didn't have a brand, and I didn't know what really a brand meant at that time. But I knew that I needed a website. I knew that I needed a logo and all that kind of stuff. And so I took to YouTube University and I taught myself how to build a website and all that for my business so that people could start booking me as their photographer. Slowly but surely, branding sort of took off. People were like, well, Brittany, just like they do with photography, who did your website? Who did your logo? And before you knew it, I started to transition into being this whole brand guru, right? So I was designing and I was like, man, I don't even know how I got here. But slowly but surely, photography started to take its way. You started to, leave the picture. And now people started to get to know me as sort of this brand designer in a sense. I really took off. I was doing brand design for about 5 to 6 years. Had clients like Natasha. She was my first client, like where I really didn't even have a portfolio to even show that I could do it, but I really was like winging my way through it, right? But eventually I got to a point where, I had to start streamlining my own business. I had to start, getting really serious about what it was that I was building, because I started to have financial goals that I really wanted to hit and to prove to myself, like, girl, you can quit this job and you can run this business full time. And at the time, with the support of my husband, hey, go ahead and quit your job. At the time I really didn't have a plan, but I started to build this plan of what it looked like to build this branding firm that I desired in my heart. But then I realized that once I had this plan and then I continued to work with my other clients and building their brands, we would get to the point of launching, right? Website is done, logo, it looked good. And people would freeze on launching and putting it out into the world. And I'd be like, yo, what's happening? Like, why aren't people wanting to share all this goodness that we've built together? And what I realized, it was because they didn't have a plan. They didn't realize, like, okay, now that I have this beautiful business and brand online, I don't know how to market it. I don't know how to tell people my message behind it. I don't know the offers really, and they weren't comfortable in that space. All they had was something that was pretty, but nothing that was strategic. And that for me was like, all right, Britt, step back, you got to teach the people. And so slowly but surely I transitioned into this world of, creative, brand strategy and consultancy, so that people can really understand that it takes a plan in order for you to be successful in business. And so today I've helped hundreds of, entrepreneurs really build their businesses so that they're not winging it. So they do have the confidence to know, this is how I'm going to go from point A to point Z. This is how I'm going to market it. This is how I'm going to get comfortable with my message and show people how I show up in my market differently than anybody else. So that's a lot, but that's really my story. I like to let people know that I didn't wake up and all of a sudden know what it meant to be a brand strategist. No, this took a journey. Okay. I wasn't always making 6 figures in my business. It was a journey. And so I always want to encourage people or to remind them, like, man, you're going to fall. You know what I'm saying? There are going to be times where it's like, man, none of this makes sense. I don't even want to be an entrepreneur anymore. You're going to have those days, but I'm telling you, every move that I made, I realized that I learned something. God gave me something in each one of those transitions or those stages so that I could actually build to where I am. And I'm still growing. So at the end of the day, as long as you're moving and you're wanting to grow and be better, keep going, man.
Listen, you already preaching. Question 1. Hit us with a word. Okay. Yes. No. And can we give it up to God too for just how he guides us? Like, you started off wedding planning and now you're out here like, I mean, I just am always in awe of how he uses like our little bit of talent. If we just start
Yeah.
working it, and we just keep working it, and he keeps giving us more, keeps giving us
Yes.
more. That is
Yes.
just so encouraging
Yes.
to hear your journey. Yeah, I had no idea you started off in wedding planning and just
Yeah.
like moved
Yeah.
on. Awesome. Okay, so and that word about just like going from pretty to strategic, I saw Vanetta posted that in the chat. Yes, that is a word as well,
For sure.
Vanetta. So Brittany, like I said to you before, we've been working diligently over the past few months. I know my tribe has been getting mad at me for making them do market research and all these things to just
Yeah.
help them build a solid foundation for their business. But now we're getting to the point where branding is important and coming into play. So I really want to hear your perspective on what the difference is between a business and a brand. And then I know you even go a little bit further to say there's even a difference between a brand and a visual brand. So could you
Yeah.
just kind of break that down for us and help us understand why it's important to have a firm grip on all three of those?
Yeah, for sure. So when I teach building a plan-based business, right, I see it in three parts, and y'all can write this down, right? I see it as business is the first part, branding is the second part, and marketing is the third part. Okay. And so what happens is when it comes to business, that's really laying the foundation of what you're all about. That's your purpose, your values, your vision, your voice, right? That's your what, why, how, and who. I call that your brand definition. And I even take it a step further to talk about your who not, like who do you not want to serve? So your business really is laying the foundation of what your business is all about, the offers, your pricing, it's laying that like the roadmap that's going to guide you from point A again to point Z. That's the business aspect. Now, branding is you can't jump into branding. I see a lot of people want to jump into branding, especially visual branding, like your website, your logo, all of that, before they've established the business side of what they're working and what they're building, because they get so excited. We got to show people that I look cute in this photo shoot. I got to show people I got a logo. I got to show people this website, right? And you're jumping, and so you're putting it out there, really having no clue who you're trying to attract, all of that good stuff. And so branding is broken into two parts, okay? Branding is broken into the experience and visual branding. That's how I teach it, okay? The experiences, okay, y'all always hear people are saying what branding is what people are saying about you when you're not in the room, right? So the experiences, wowing your people, being with them step by step when they're buying your products and your services, or if you're coaching them, whatever the case may be, something that they walk away and they say, man, that girl was dope. And they're talking about you on your behalf. Now, visual branding, there's a system that comes with that, okay? It's about going to, this is what I see people do. And I know you got a question about like something later. I'm trying not to cover it a little bit, but what I see people do is piece things together. I'm gonna get this over here. I'm gonna get that over there. Oh, this girl got a $50 special. I'm gonna get that too, but visual branding is a system and it all works together. Okay. It starts with a vision. Okay. Then you go to colors, and then you go to logos and website and your social media. And when your brand is aligned, let me say this, when your visual brand is aligned, people can go from one space to the other and feel like they're in the exact same space. Does that make sense? So if you leave my Instagram and then you go to my website and then you see the photos of me, my professional photos, and then you see my marketing collateral, it all looks and feels the same because it's strategic, right? So I encourage all of you. Autumn, thank you for your head nods, girl. You giving me this encouragement to like, look, I might be on the hot spot, okay? But what I encourage each of you to do is just do screenshots. Screenshot your Instagram, screenshot your website, screenshot any headshots and things that you've done, and put it all side by side and see if they look and flow together. And if not, then you'll realize, oh man, I'm not really aligned the way that I thought that I was, okay? So that's branding in that essence. So you have business, which is the foundation, branding broken into the experience and visual branding. And then the third is marketing, okay? So branding really is about the experience, like I said before, and marketing is telling people about that experience. It's using different platforms and different channels to actually share your message, things of that nature. So that could be content marketing, that could be email marketing, that could be SEO, whatever the case may be. And so it's important for us as entrepreneurs to know the difference when we're building our businesses.
Mm. Y'all, I hope y'all are taking notes on all of this good, amazing notes that she gave y'all. She gave y'all some major keys. And I love that. I love that you talk about how branding is the experience that you create for your customer. I really appreciate you breaking down branding between the experience and the visuals and how it all, like, I've never heard anyone talk about it being a system, but that is such a good way to look at it. All works together in unison.
Sure.
Ooh, so good. I love it. I love it. So Britney, for those who feel like they have a firm grip on their business foundation, but don't yet have a sense for what their brand really is, what is your recommended process for finding your brand voice? And I know that you kind of refer to it as like your Eunice. So, you know, how do you find your brand voice? And then how do you go about defining your actual visual brand out of that?
Yeah, for sure. Your brand voice is truly just about being your authentic self, right? So when you read my content, the way that I write my content really is how I naturally speak, right? What I find that people do in terms of building their brand voice, they try to go out into the market and be what other people are. Okay. And they try to speak in that way and be in that way. And then they feel this sort of tug in their heart that doesn't feel aligned because they're showing up as somebody else, right? So your brand voice, is really just tapping into who you really are and being okay with being different than what other people have experienced in the market. It took me a long time to get there. For a long time, I was being what I thought people wanted me to be, you know? And so I was actually knocking who I really was, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh man, like I can't speak this way. It's not professional. You know, this is not what I learned in school, you know? And at the end of the day, I can still present my knowledge and still be a sister on the block. I can still do that. You know what I'm saying? And so really coming into your brand voice is being okay with who you are, sharing with who you are, and knowing that there are people out there that are going to rock with you because they see themselves in you, right? And so that's really, really important. So I want to encourage each of you guys to like tap into the essence of who you are. Understand, you know, why are you doing this business? What impact do you want to make, you know, and how do you want to share? And how do you want people to be able to relate with you? And when you get to that point, you will notice that the way that you know, push your message or the way that you're interacting with your people will start to feel like a natural thing because you are being true to yourself. You're not going to have second thought when you're creating your content. You're not gonna have second thought. Like this interview, I know you had questions and I kind of like skimmed through them. But in my head, I was like, this is what I know. This is what I feel. This is what I love. This is true to me. So I don't really have to study it. You get what I'm saying? And that only comes when you actually align with yourself and be okay. Like this is my authentic self and there are people out there for me.
Definite. I think that's such a good sort of litmus test too, for those of you who may be struggling. Like, you've written something down, and just take a step back and look at it. Does this feel like me? Does this sound like me? You know, and if it doesn't, it's time to kind of make some adjustments. This is just so good, y'all. I'm like, I cannot wait to go back and listen to this recording. So good. And so, Britney, I know this wasn't a question that I asked, but you know, for those of us, hold on a second. If you could, please mute yourself. I'm gonna try to. 1 second.
Arlena, really quick, can I show something really fast?
Oh, please. Hold on. There we go. I wanted to mute everybody else. Yes, please, Britney.
Oh, it says share screen, and then it says has disabled. I just want to show something really quick to go back to the questions. I'm very visual.
Yes, please. I love that. Okay, you should be able to share now.
Okay, let me try really quick. Yep, I just want to share this. When I talked about the visual brand system, this is what I was talking about here. Y'all can screenshot this, but these are all the pieces that make up your visual brand. And so I wanted you guys to see each little pocket and how I see how they work together. So this is what I was talking about, where it goes from the vibe, colors, fonts, style guide. All of this works together to build that aligned brand, right? And so this is what I said, when you screenshot, this is what I mean. I want you to put stuff side by side so that you can see, okay, my Instagram, my website, my photo shoots, my marketing material. And this is what I mean when you look at it, to see that everything visually aligned, that you're telling the same visual story no matter what space people are in. I'm very visual, and I know that some people also might be visual, so I wanted to be able to share that so that they could see what I was talking about.
Oh, yes, 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 yes. My visual learners, that is really helpful to see. Like, it is, I hope y'all screenshot that because it is like, that is just so full of tools. And because I think a lot of us just think, oh, pretty colors. Oh, I like this. And we don't have that mindset around like, no, I need to approach my visual brand just like I approach my business in a sense. Like, it is a system. How am I systematically, bringing this thing to fruition? Thank you so much for that.
Yeah. For sure.
So good. I think we had a quick question from Ashley on what is collateral, like business cards?
Yeah. So collateral basically is like business cards, pamphlets, brochures, anything that's sort of like an accessory to your brand, right? So that's pretty much what collateral is. So it's marketing materials would be the better way to say that.
Perfect. Okay. So yes. Good. All right. So you've given us sort of that process for finding our branding voice, and just really like, it starts with knowing who we are and just kind of making sure that everything we're putting out there is true to that. What would you say the role of like analyzing your competition plays in the branding process? Do you have an opinion on that?
Yeah, I have a strong opinion on that. What I'm going to say, and I say this even when I teach, it's like, I always say, knowing what your competition is doing is different from being consumed with what your competition is doing, right? So what happens is we get so obsessed with, okay, they got the following, they seem like they got the offers, people are buying from them, they're making the money. You really don't know what's going on behind the scenes of anybody's business, to be honest with you. So let me just go ahead and put that out there, right? But when you get consumed by that, that's when you start getting into that phase of comparing and feeling like I'm not good enough and people aren't going to buy from me. And you start giving yourself these negative thoughts, right? But knowing is just having the data and being educated with what's going on in your market. Now, I don't know if anybody understands like SWOT, right? A SWOT analysis, right? But that's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, right? It's important for you to understand your strengths, your weaknesses. But that spot, the opportunities is my hot spot, because opportunities is where the gap lives for you in your market. So you need to look at your competition and you need to say, what do they do well? And what do they not do so well? And in between is the gap that you can fill and how you can show up in your space. That's the opportunity for you, okay? But how can you find that opportunity if your mindset is, I don't have competition, I'm in my own lane, I'm doing my own thing, I ain't worried about what they doing, right? So if you have that mindset because your ego is telling you, I ain't worried about other folks, then you're gonna miss the opportunity to create something special that does not exist in your market. So yes, I'm very aware of other consultants and other brand strategists in my industry. Love them. I'm going to root you on. But I'm also going to analyze you, and I'm going to say, yeah, you ain't hitting this spot right here. So I'm going to make sure I'm all up in there. So that those folks know when they hear that, they think of Britney Jeanine. So you would be a fool to not know and study and research your competition. Again, knowing and being consumed by, two different things. So when you find yourself getting consumed, where you looking at their Instagram so often and you trying to study and move the way, no, that's totally different than a competitor analysis. But having the knowledge and the data to say, okay, what are their products and services? What's their size and following? Where does their business seem to boom when it comes to, Instagram or Facebook, or are they at conferences speaking or whatever? Get into it, know it, feel it. Because again, you won't be able to create that special hot sweet spot for yourself if you have no clue what others are doing in your space.
I mean, I don't even know what to say. Like, this is just so good. Yes, thrive in the opportunities, that opportunity piece. Oh, this is so good. This is so good. And I think you pretty much touched it, but I want, just in case you got any more, I want to just squeeze all of this juice that you are giving us out.
Let's do it.
But, for those of us who, are maybe not coming at it from that whole, like, I'm too proud to look at my competition, but they're actually looking at it and they're falling into that being consumed, or they're in that place where, okay, well, they're doing all these amazing things and I just suck at life. You know what I mean? Like, how do you, can you give us some mindset hacks to help us beat that comparison trap that we can sometimes fall into just as a result of having to study our competition?
Yeah, like for me, it's really like speaking life back into yourself, right? Mm-hmm. So for me, I have to tell myself, man, Britney, you are the juice, girl. You know what I'm saying? I had a quote on there. It was just like, man, when I realized I was the juice, I served it up organic and fresh squeezed. Like I felt like that, you know, and I had to like be confident in that. You know what I'm saying? Again, it took a journey for me to get there. You know what I mean? And yes, I was the one building my website to look like this person, taking my photos and making sure they're edited like this color. And just because I wanted to be what I thought, like I said earlier, what others wanted me to be. But when you find yourself getting into that, what I do, a good hack, I screenshot all of the people that have spoken life into me. Whether it was a comment on my Instagram, whether it was an email, whether it was a voicemail that I received, a text message, and I have an album on my phone that says confirmation. And I put all of those photos, all of the stuff in that thing. And anytime I feel like I'm not, arriving, or I'm not doing it the way I'm supposed to, or people are not going to buy this or whatever, I go back and I read. I got chills, Jesus. I go back and I read everything that has been spoken back into me. Britney, you have a gift. Britney, you are this. Britney, and I allow people, because God spoke to them to speak to me, right? And so I allow that to be what I need in that space to say, no, I'm doing this for a reason. This is why, and this is why, and this is why. So that would be for me a mindset hack, is to really like remind yourself, speak positive, because one thing we do, we speak so negative to ourselves, you know? We speak so negative to ourselves, you know? Most time, we are hard on ourselves in general, but when you find yourself doing that, man, correct yourself and say, I have a gift and I've helped people and I can help people. And whenever somebody spoke life into you, remind yourself so that you can get back up and you can continue moving forward.
Whew, I got chills, tears. It was just like full. Oh, that was so good. A confirmation folder. I have never heard that. I've had people recommend, keeping a folder of like testimonials, DMs and stuff like that, but a specific one for confirmations and words spoken over you, that is just so powerful. So powerful. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
Ooh, I gotta like get myself together over here. All right. So Britney, you've talked about some of the mistakes that we kind of run into when it comes to approaching our visual brand. Can you share maybe a few more mistakes that are kind of common that you see entrepreneurs doing, and how to sort of what your recommendation is for people to avoid those mistakes?
Yeah, mistakes for me is running from your journey, or trying to rush the journey. That's real, man. Sometimes you just gotta sit in it. For me, like I'm a very impatient person. And there are things in my personal life that I gotta work on, right? But what I'm gonna say is sometimes the season that you are in is for a reason, right? And so you have to sit in it and you have to say, man, I know it feels like it's taking a long time, man. Maybe I hadn't hit to them 5-figure months yet, but you have to know that you are in that season for a particular reason. There's a lesson in it. So literally sit in it. So the mistake is we're trying to rush to get to the next step, and we're not embracing what's supposed to be taught in that stage that we're in right now. Okay. So that's really important. Take that in your personal life too, y'all. Like I got therapy session on Thursday, Lord Jesus, because look, we got to work on it, Other mistakes, I already talked about the visual brand piece, but going back to just to reiterate, is like piecing things together. Just understand that your visual brand is a system that works fully together. Okay. So making sure that you're moving that way, not getting consumed by the competition is another mistake. We get lost in that and being what we want people, or being what we think people want us to be. Other mistakes that I see, being sometimesy. I feel like my post didn't go up today yet, but being sometimesy, that is a freaking mistake. Like when you are going to be an entrepreneur, there are people that are counting on you. And so you can't just decide to show up on Monday and then come back 2 months from now and then come back 5 months. If you're going to do it, man, do it. And so what I find is that in business, we're told consistency means that we got to show up every day. That's not the truth. Consistency is if you decide that every Tuesday is the day I'm going to rock and I'm going to rock hard, you show up every Tuesday. That's what it is. So consistency is what you define it to be, right? And so I would say a mistake is just being sometimes like people have to know that when they come to you, this is what I'm going to get. And that it's true. You know what I'm saying? And so there are a lot of mistakes, but one that I just feel like that whole sitting in it, in the journey and being okay at each stage, man, you can't rush it, because guess what? When you do get to that point that you had envisioned, you're going to be like, well, like when I was a wedding planner, I couldn't see all the way down here, but I knew that I wanted to be down here. But I realized that, oh man, the organization that it took, right? As a photographer, I realized what it meant to see vision. You know what I'm saying? As a brand designer, I realized what it means to actually put your message into a visual makeup so that people can see themselves in your brand. As a strategist now and a consultant, I realized, man, it takes a plan, because I was struggling. I literally had to go through each one of those stages to be confident in where I am today. Okay. So definitely that whole that's sitting it. Oh, that's hit my spirit. I never really said that out loud before, but that's really important.
Powerful. And just the way that God trained you at each stage of the process. Yeah. I love that you said you have to sit there and receive the lesson, like whatever the lesson is. If you're in this season, it's for a reason. Like, oh guys, this is so powerful. And it's so encouraging too, you know, to see your success now, and knowing that it was a journey. It took time. Is just so empowering, guys. Like you wherever you are in your season, like, and Britney, you're not done yet. Like God got 10 more years of seasons. Okay, you just get started, and you already, you know. So it's just this is just so good, y'all. Like I have all of the butterflies and the warm and gooey's going on over here. So this is so good. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Just for freely sharing. I think that was just truly a word. Somebody needed that. I already know.
I just something else just popped up in my head.
Please.
In terms of mistake, also, it's just like not to be afraid of failure, you know, or getting comfortable with your failure. It's okay to fail. You're gonna fail. You know what I'm saying? But don't be so hard on yourself that you can't get back up and try it again or rework that concept. You know? So that's another thing. And I guess that's another thing of sitting in it, you know, like you are going to fail. Ooh, one more mistake, girl. Ooh, y'all got me on this roll. One more mistake.
Let it flow.
Do not take what you see online as face value. Okay?
Say that again for the people in the back.
Do not take what you see online as face value. What I mean by that is we will see so much positive imagery out there. So much, I'm doing this and I got this, and look at my bag, and look at the car I drive, and look at my house, and look. And I'm telling you, behind closed doors, you have no idea what is really going on. And I want to let you know that you can't match yourself up to something that people are strategically road mapping and visually scheduling. That's Britney Jeanine herself, okay? So online, people can look so perfect and so put together, but in reality, they still learning too. They're still on the journey too. And so when you start to get into that comparison and all that stuff like that, realizing what you see is not always reality. And so the mistake is that we're taking it as face value, and we're trying to compare where we are to this facade of what's being posted online and all of that. So just be careful with that. This is a little bit more personal, relationship goals. And that's the space that I'm in, you know, relationship. So that'll be business goals, I guess, for us, right? Where you want, and you're asking God for it to be like that, and you have no clue what you're asking him for. So just be very careful that you're protecting your heart and you're not moving based off of what you always see out there. I wish I could see the rest of these ladies.
I know. I'm like, I don't know if you can.
But I see their smiling pictures. That works for me.
Woo! I just feel like the
Thank you.
tangible weight of what you are sharing with us. I know that these ladies, y'all, I see some amens in the comments. I see the claps because this is just so powerful.
Thank y'all for coming on video. It makes me know that they're real people.
Yes, it does help. Woo! Okay, so I think I'll just ask a couple more questions here before we get into learning how we can invest in you, hire you to help us, and then also opening up the floor for specific questions from the audience. Um, for someone who is, gosh, there's so many, you're just so full of, okay, let me ask this one. I know that you're a beast at helping entrepreneurs attract the right clients with their visual brands. And I know that you have a process for doing this, right? But if you had to boil your process down to your number one method for using your visual branding to attract the right clients, what would it be?
Your brand has nothing to do with you and everything to do with your people. Your brand has nothing to do with you and everything to do with your people. Please write that down. All right, y'all, I gotta be a mom for a second because my daughter is trying to hack this lock.
No, she want to come in and get some of this,
Right,
these good gems. Oh.
I'll be out in a second. Are you getting a job? No, I'm not getting not that kind of interview. It's like a but I'll be out in a minute, okay? Give me a second. Hour? Yeah, maybe that.
Oh, she's so sweet.
No, okay, don't come back until I finish, girl. I'm telling y'all. That's the reality, right? That's the reality of she was. I locked the door and she's like hacking it. I could just hear her hacking the lock.
Like, no, I'm gonna figure this out, mama, because I got this. I got to see you real quick.
Like, who you in there talking to? You sounding kind of hype. But yeah, so your branding or your brand has nothing to do with you and everything to do with your people is my main way or method or whatever the case may be. And just to give you an example, when I first started, and Natasha knows this, like I had purple hair. My brand was all about partying and color and it was glitter everywhere and blah, blah, blah. And it was a true essence of who I was. Like, I was like, man, I want people to know I'm spunky, I'm fun. And I'm just going to splash it all out there in my branding. Right. And then I wasn't attracting people who were ready to spend the money that I needed them to spend, right? And I didn't know what the heck was going on. And they would come to me and they'd be like, party and color, whoop, whoop. And I said earlier in the conference, they're like, I pay you $50 a day. Can I do $50 a day? And then and I was like, no, man, this is not what I'm doing this for, you know? And what happened was I only thought about myself. I never thought about the people that I really wanted to work with, right? At that point, I had to step back and say, all right, Britney, what elements of you also are parts of your client? But where does your client live? Where do they shop? What do they do in their free time? You know? So my client is like a high-end client, whatever the case may be. Let me go and walk through Neiman Marcus and kind of look at the stores that they shop in and what they might be attracted to. Let me pull that into my brand, right? And so at the end of the day, I had to make sure that red is not my favorite color by far, right? But red means bold, right? Red means passion. And that's really what people that are ready to build their business to the next level that I'm trying to attract, that's what they're visually attracted to. So I had to make sure that the elements and the psychology of color was built into my brand, right? To reach the people that are wanting to do what I offer, right? So I want a lot of you guys to step out of your brand and realize, yeah, I mean, there's parts of you that can be, because parts of you do align with your dream clients, right? But I also want you to realize, like, it really ain't about you. It ain't about you. It's about the people that you're working to help solve their problems.
A word.
What type of businesses do we have in here?
Yes, drop your businesses in the chat, ladies.
I mean, I'm sorry. I just want to go.
No, you're good. I know most of my tribe is service-based, are service-based business owners. We do have some product folks as well as creatives like Siobhan right there. Boom, filmmaking creative.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. Okay. Awesome. Calligraphy. Right. Okay. Awesome. Man, so it's a good span of things.
Mm-hmm.
Bomb. Okay.
Yep. So that's so good, that thin line between, demonstrating your personality, but all from the vantage point of your client. It's really about them first. Ooh, so good. Okay. I think I'm going to ask, no, I think I got like 2 more questions and I'm ready. 'Cause I want to get all of this.
It's all good.
Good. So, for someone, I know that we all know, and if you don't know, you about to know that branding yourself, especially getting into visual branding, is an investment. You're not gonna pay $50 and get a brand system like you're talking about, right? So, for someone who's just getting started with taking the steps to defining their brand, where do you recommend them investing first? And maybe share some tips at different budget ranges too, right? Like working with a brand consultant like you, or, maybe I don't have the budget quite yet. So where could I start and still create a quality brand?
Yeah. That's really, really good. First off, I want folks to know what they are working toward first. So you may be already stalking a brand designer out there that you really, really love their work, right? And sort of follow them, see how they do things, the results that they've created for other people, so that you know what you're working towards. You may not be able to get it today, but you know what you're working towards, right? For folks that are just starting out and maybe you don't have the budget to get someone to do your brand from the ground up, what I'm going to say, I feel like other experts are going to kill me for saying this, but I don't care. Think about the platforms that you can use that are easy for you to manage and maintain, okay? On my website, BritneyJeanine.com / toolbox, I have a lot of different tools that I've used myself to build my business before I could have people kind of come in and help me and do that kind of thing. So when it came to doing my logo, I learned how to build a text-based logo on my own. And I realized, that Wix, I'm gonna preach Wix all day. Wix was a great platform and still is. That's my website's on Wix right now. For those who need something quick, easy drop, what do you call it? Drag and drop, right? Canva is a great way to use our platform to use for you to create your social media graphics and your marketing materials. But at the end of the day, if you're at a point where you can't invest and you need to build it that way, just still know it takes a system. And just know that you still have to put everything side by side to make sure it all looks and feels like it comes from the same place. A lot of times I realize that when people don't have the budget, they're like, oh, I'm going to get this from Etsy. I'm going to get this over here, this glittery pattern over here. Oh, this is cute over here. And it's just like, no, guys, like, make sure it all is aligned and goes together. And as you build and as you get the word out there about your business, you're going to start to be able to budget for that person that you already researched that you was coming back to get. Okay. So that's sort of my thing. But when you get to that point, just know good branding, like visual branding, starts at a good $3,500. Good branding, solid branding. Before I finished design, and even my agency, like we're starting at $10,500 for a brand. So just be prepared to invest when you get to that point. It's not the time to like nickel and dime so build it the way you need to now, but know what you're working towards.
That's really good. Setting that, a goal for yourself. Like, I eventually want to work with BJCo Creative. So you know what? This is the direction I'm headed. This is my first step in that direction. I'm gonna get this Wix together. I'm gonna get this little Canva graphic, and I'm gonna make it shake. So
yeah, and there's also lots of beautiful templates and things out there that you can customize in the process, and for you to have your online home. So be okay with that. I think a lot of times, like even when I first started designing, I used to be so ashamed to tell people that I use Wix. And I was like, man, but then I was like, this stuff look good. Why am I ashamed? You know what I'm saying? Like, shoot, forget that. Because then people were like, what platform you use? I'm like, Wix. And they're like, nah, yep. And so when I got confident in that, I was like, I don't care what you got to say about it, so just be okay with like your templates and your things and all that. But do understand that good branding, you're going to have to invest when you get to that point.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Britney, so I think I'm going to stop the interview, but you have just been on one today. And I just want to, is there anything else on your heart before we kind of get into our Q&A that you just feel led to share just about branding, all of this that we've been talking about today, is there anything that comes to mind that you want to kind of leave us with?
Yeah, for me, I have a creed that I want to share. This is my creed in my business. But as I bring it up, I'll tell you, man, let God be your CEO in your business, guys. That's just me. I'm not trying to push my faith, but I think this is a Christian.
Oh, we believers up in here.
Yes. Oh, yeah, we prayed in. But I would say let God be the CEO. I'm telling you, when I was moving by myself, not consulting God and things like that, I felt like things weren't coming together the way that I wanted it to. I felt like it was because I felt like I couldn't go to God for even the small things, you know? And so I want you guys to realize, like, it's okay to be like, man, God, I got this concept, but I don't really know how to push it. Talk to him like he's your daddy, you know? I don't know what this concept looks like. I don't know how to make it different. I don't know how it is, but God, drop it into me so that I know that you got me and that you're going to guide me in pushing this and making the impact that I need to make. And be okay with, not knowing, you know what I'm saying? I feel like we always want to put on to be like the expert that knows everything or whatever, but it's okay if you don't know, because guess what? There's an expert that has that gift in that space that you don't know, right? So that's what I'm going to share, but I do want to share my creed really quick.
Please, yes.
Can I get to it fast enough? Hold on, give me a second.
Good to share too. This is so good.
Oh man, too much going on. Let's see.
I see some of you guys already dropping your questions in the chat. Go ahead and start getting them in because we'll take them in order that they come through the chat.
Okay, share, boom, boom. So I encourage each of you to create your own creed in your business. Okay, this really is aligned with values and what you stand by. Okay, so that anytime that you fall or anytime that you feel like confused or foggy, that you can always come back to the creed in your business and know what you stand for. So for me, mine says I consult with God in my business. I don't play small. I win with less. I cheer others on authentically. I align with positive spirits. I show up. I don't make excuses. I'm not afraid of failure. I inspire through my gifts. I am committed. I am consistent. I am blessed. And I had to do this for myself because I realized that I can't be strong on my own. So I knew that I had to consult with God in my business. That's why it's number one on my creed. But I also realized all the other areas that I had to speak life into. But I also realized that these are values. And when I have values that align with people who share the same values, them buying from me becomes an easier decision because they can actually relate to how I see life and the values that I stand upon. So I encourage each one of you to also create your own creed. It may not look like this, but it may be like my values and what I stand for are 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm not going to sway on that. So I'll leave you with that before we go into questions.
Thank you for sharing that. I am going to create my own creed. And even just seeing that, how beautifully it aligns with everything else that you're doing, and your business, how the experience that you create with your brand for your people is all echoes each one of those lines. That's just so beautiful and so bomb. Thank you. So Britney, before we get into this Q&A, please tell us, how can we work with you if we want to learn more about you, tap into everything that you're doing? What's the best next step to take?
Yeah, for sure. So my hot spot is content marketing, y'all. So I'm always dropping gems on Instagram. So definitely follow me at Britney Jeanine on Instagram. One thing, when I talked about consistency and I said we get lost in thinking that we have to show up every day. No, pick what show up means for you. And for me, it's Tell It Tuesday. So every Tuesday, you can expect something bomb from me online. Okay. So definitely follow me at Britney Jeanine. I'm not giving you that fluff kind of stuff. I really want to put out information that you can actually use in your business. Now, as it relates to my offers and things or ways to work with me, I have online education. So I have programs, Unstuck and Beast the Brand are two of my online courses that you could take. You could get it today if you wanted to. Unstuck helps you build the plan-based business that I talked about that breaks it down in business, branding, and marketing. And then Beast the Brand is how do you build that system visually. And I even go into giving you tips and tricks for those of you who have to do it on your own for right now. So that's sort of like the bottom tier of working with me. Middle, I have a group mentorship and mastermind that's 6 months. It actually starts on August the 5th. Registration is closed, but I do have 3 spots available. I think 2, because I think somebody registered from the conference I talked to earlier, but I have 2 spots available, and I'm willing to open up those spots if any of you are interested. So that's Britney at BritneyJeanine.com. You can shoot me an email, say, hey, Britt, you mentioned Brand. It's called Brand Booster for the 6-month mastermind where we're going to work through your business all the way from point A to point B. Or Z, let's say Z. And then last is one-on-one consulting. Some people don't work well in groups, whatever the case may be, or you just want me to focus directly on your business. That's more so my done for you service where you sort of throw it all on me. I take on the weight and I build the plan and I build everything for your business on my own. So that's the way. So 3, yep, that's me. Yep, that's my email at Britney Jeanine on Instagram. And then also, obviously my website, BritneyJeanine.com. So you can search around there to figure out the best way to work with me too.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Britney, this interview was amazing. Thank you so much for pouring into us like you did. I feel even better than I felt when I came on today. So thank you.
Oh, good.
You are a blessing. I'm gonna